Cromwell Castle has a hidden horror museum below it, and today we get to sit down with Clint and Wendy Winters, the power couple behind the castle, camera, and a new immersive film called Captive. I'm Michelle, and this is Atlanta After Dark.
So, my name is Clint Winters. It's been, for me, it's been a long journey, beginning with horror. I think everything that you see at Cromwell really started with a true passion and a love for horror. So I tell this story, and sometimes I forget to tell my age when I basically saw this certain thing, but the original Thriller music video, I was like 5 years old. It just scared me to death. It terrified me. And so my parents were like, we're going to get you the behind the scenes, the making of Thriller, so you can kind of see how it's made. And they did. So I sat there and I watched Michael Jackson get turned into a werewolf and all the makeup and effects and the dancing and everything they did. And I started to understand like what goes behind making that. And I found beauty in it. So all of a sudden something that was terrifying to me became fascinating. And that is what started my, I'll call it obsession with horror. I just started to love scary stuff. I started to draw scary things. I started to want to watch scary movies, although my parents were super strict. So like I couldn't watch anything that you would know of today until I was older. Like I think the first time I watched Halloween was on like the like the network TV version, like watered down. So that's what started everything. So then once I was able with Wendy to start to put together this collection and it started with horror, but then it's like when you look into the stories of horror, everything really dates back to something that's real. So I was like, wow, like it exists because of John Wayne Gacy. You have several films that are based on loosely on Ed Gein. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is influenced by Ed Gein. The role of Hannibal Lecter is actually influenced by discussions with Ted Bundy about the Green River Killer. So, I mean, all these things exist. And of course, Buffalo Bill and Ed Gein as well. So I was like, wow, like there's lots of connections between true crime and horror. So once that came to be, then we progressed into our, our more robust collection.
Wendy, you met on set, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it, well, I'll start with
I know, don't say
yeah. So I'm Wendy Winters, and I think my whole obsession with horror actually started when I want to say I was probably about 3 years old, and don't know who let me watch it, but Clive Barker's movie Hellraiser. And
yikes, right?
Just like my parents were great about it. They love me, but they're like, you know what? Let's send her here. Just go watch Hellraiser.
Shock therapy, baby.
Yeah. If you sink or swim,
let's go hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think from there that I probably because I started young, I didn't really have that fear with horror movies, but at the same time, if something was scaring me, I liked that control of it being like it's a fictional story, and if I get too scared, I could turn it off. Or if I get too scared, like even with The Ring, like a lot of people would cover their TVs, but for me, I loved having that control of that adrenaline rush, and I think that's why I loved horror so much. And then off of what Clint was saying, like, yeah, there's a lot of true stories or something that stemmed from true crime or just history in general.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Siri? Okay. So she interrupts me.
That's hilarious.
How dare you, Siri?
Yeah, why is she listening?
Yeah.
It's weird.
She only listens to her.
Listen, I'm used to that.
Yeah.
How young? When you say I started too young, how young is that?
How young for wait
For the ring.
Oh, The Ring. Oh, that was early 2000.
That's a pretty scary movie for someone.
Yeah, and I wasn't
very
like that. I mean, because that was probably what, like 10 or so when that came out, but I was like, I was interested in that, and I loved seeing other people's reactions. And I had so many friends that were like, let's cover the TV tonight because I can't stand to watch it. I'm like, no one's gonna climb out of the TV, but I think it's cool that.
But they might.
But you never know. They could.
Let's cover it. But jumping back to what Clint was saying about, true crime and all the historical stuff that kind of, inspired some of these fictional horror films. We've always loved history in general, and there was a place, is it Alcatraz?
Alcatraz East,
Up
Pigeon
in
Forge.
Pigeon Forge, and for us, every single time we would go up to Pigeon Forge, we would go up to this museum, and for us, it always intrigued us. And this one was more based around just true crime in general, and it had some dated stuff back to like the medieval times too.
Yeah, it's almost like the history of crime is what they did. It's massive. I mean,
Cool.
it's a tourist attraction. So they went back to like pirates and
all the way up to they have the Bronco from O.J. Simpson, like his friend was driving it.
What?
One of Ted
Bundy's bug.
Yeah, one of them. So it that stuff always fascinated us, and it was just, I think it's that fascination of, wow, these people actually existed. Like, this was the car that they drove, or this is the weapon that they used, or these, even the glasses that they wore. I think they also had John Wayne Gacy's like clown costume.
Actual like clown suits.
So,
yeah.
And that stuff,
Creepy.
I mean, I think when it comes to true crime, and those are real life horrors, and you can't really turn a TV off. I mean, unless you're watching a documentary, but that stuff, it's true. It happens to people. These are real people, real victims, real families, and I think it is fascinating in a way. It's scary, but for us, I mean, we do it because we still. What did we say? We're like, history is going to repeat itself.
Yeah.
And if we're not made aware of it, and I mean, these things could happen again. I mean, they're always happening. There's a recent serial killer that was just convicted up in, is it Long Island?
Yeah, it's the Gilgo Beach.
Yeah.
Long Island. I mean, it just happened like last week.
Yeah, he just
So
got convicted.
it's like we have to make sure that you have horror, which is entertainment, and we all have stories on the first horror movies we watched. But then true crime, there's a certain gravity to it that you have to like maintain. So even when I do videos on let's say a horror movie versus true crime, my tone is different because you're dealing with something that's
real.
it's not a story, it's a real person.
Yeah.
So it's
there's a serious aspect of it. Right?
very
And you want to be respectful to the people that it affected, because one person dying affects this whole web, and it's just it's always so awful how it,
and that's why I'm not sure how I feel about how popular true crime is as a genre of technically entertainment, because it's one of those things that even though we collect it and study it and tell stories about it, and we consume it, we watch it too. So like it's judgment on ourselves. It's still taking a family's like worst moment they've ever had, and you're watching it like we used to watch sitcoms. Families sit down and they're watching the newest true crime documentary, or like what Netflix has done, which I'm not sure how I feel about this either. They take a real killer and then they dramatize some aspects. So it's like you're taking someone that's real, like Ed Gein, and you're adding these extra things to it. So
I feel like that part, like in that way, it almost glorifies it.
That's the part that feels weird to me. Is it feels like now you're taking someone and and now it really does feel like this fictional character, much like Freddy or Jason or something. And like, no, he was real.
He was real.
So
and there's real
the people that were affected by him, it feels like an interesting decision to do that. But unfortunately, most of what we see nowadays, it's based on what's going to get the most views, what's going to get the most traction, especially in a highly aggressive area like streaming, obviously. So from the business side, I understand why they do it, but it's just ethically, I have my own questions with it.
You guys said this, I think you said this to us last week, and it really affected me because one of my friend's sisters was murdered up in New Hampshire. She was lost for a really long time, and then they ended up finding her and everything. And people would go up to him on the street and be like, "Oh, you're the one with the missing sister." And then some people would want to do podcast on it, and he was like, "I can't do it." And he's like, to know people are just out there to know it. So I think there's a real side of like, how do we continue sharing that history, but also protecting the people without hurting them in a sense?
Right.
And how do we draw that line as humans? I don't know.
Yeah, that's when I watch, for example, when I watch documentaries, life is so different in other countries than here. From the perspective of an outsider, somebody who lives in Mexico, constantly dealing with violent things since you're a kid. Because I tell the stories to my son that it was not easy back in Mexico. Like, it was not. You had to like fight, like learn how to fight, fight, at least, because they're bad people coming at you. And the people that sometimes hurt you the most is that the ones that comes with that smiley face, with
the ones you don't expect.
And the people, for example, I protect my family, so you protect your family, because we know there's good people out there. But sometimes the good people, you because you're so sweet, they get influenced by the people that are bad. So I have to protect her. So we protect her. So within this scope of protecting there are so many stories. For example, you know how much the Epstein files are going on, right?
Oh yeah.
Which let's talk about one specific part. Forget about the whole sex trafficking that they're doing. Let's talk about what in lies to hide this amount of information for the public.
Right.
How much do we need to go and figure it out? Producer needs to go and put it together so people can, so that's how they operate.
Yeah.
So what you guys do, to me, is fascinating, because you're not only being the consumer of this, you're like, hold on a second, so this is a partner. Let me put this part that I saw. There was this guy. Hold on, let me talk about it.
Yeah.
Bring it together and keep wearing awareness. Well, these people know. They know, man, and we just don't know. And though we don't know because information is put aside, because there's money, hush. It was a crime, but nobody knew. What the hell world we live on? There's innocent people out there, and we just. Sorry, I get passionate.
Yeah.
No.
I think your message resonates with me, because I seen actually act of crime in front of me, and heinous. And I don't know if you ever seen a crime in front of you, but I've seen people get murdered in front of me.
Right.
And it's not fun.
No.
I have guns pointed at my head in Mexico 3 times. I was like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah, it's like, here's
On the third time, you're like, God damn it.
Speech, Listen, man, don't pull the trigger. Just give me 20 cents for my boss way back. I was running. Okay, bro, here, listen. Take everything.
Yeah.
You just please give me 20 then so I can go back home.
Yeah. Just
people work on cell phones because crime is everything.
Yeah.
So crime in America is different. It's more sophisticated because they know the police is alert. So they have to be more creative idea.
Crazy.
So thank you again for doing that. So when, from the perspective of that, have you ever felt like you could solve a case? Like if you're watching someone say, oh my God, this show, I knew it.
Or like, you're watching a TV show, like the beginning, like, oh, I know who the murderer is.
I think that pretty much every true crime thing we watch, we start to form our own opinions. I have a pretty healthy distrust of law enforcement. Not because I think they're bad, but I think that too many times people have what's called confirmation bias. So they go into a case and they're sure that they know who did it. And what happens is when you have that mind frame, you start to make things align that maybe shouldn't align if you're looking at it objectively.
And you try to say like, oh, it's a coincidence when it's not, and they're not looking at the evidence. They're just just creating their own story, and that's harming other people. That's ruining people's lives. That's locking the wrong people up.
I agree.
It's crazy. What's the one show that we watch? It's I mean, I guess you could say it's almost true crime. The one where they did the cases of people, whether they were innocent or
Oh, so they followed them through the process.
And that was because there was a couple cases on there where there was people that got locked away, and I know that they should not.
Yeah, it was, and that was crazy because you're actually watching the system, in my opinion, fail in front of you, and I think it's question you asked is a great question. It's really hard to answer because the biggest issue is to your point, none of us actually get all the information. So, and you see that when you see opposing documentaries, you know, it's like you'll watch one and you're like, oh, that's for sure. That's what happened.
Exactly.
And then you watch the opposing one with the other side of it and you're like, oh,
I never knew that evidence was out.
yeah.
Exactly.
Then you're like, now everything you thought is just blown apart.
Exactly.
But then if someone brings something up on social media, and it could be true or not true, and you're like,
there's another part.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, unless you have it all in front of you. But the problem is it's hard to get access
To all of
to
that.
everything because also there's also a healthy amount of those in charge that don't want certain information out there, because you also have to understand that law enforcement, they have their own percentages they have to meet, performances they have to meet. So when they talk about things that they can't solve, and I have an example, something that bothers me, because like our latest film deals a lot with the dark web. So when we were going into deep dives into all the horrible stuff that happens on the dark web, you realize that major stuff's happening right now that's affecting kids, like teenagers, and it's not a little bit here or there. It's there's literally gangs of extortionists that are approaching teenagers on major social networks where they play games, and kids don't have the tool set to deal with like sextortion. So if they send a photo to someone that they think is like someone their age, and then the person uses that against them.
This happens in the news.
Yeah,
It's a huge thing.
It's a huge.
It's like 678.
Yeah, 764.
764.
But the thing is, there's an overarching group called the COM, which is even bigger. It's like the mothership, and they have these groups of people that like 764 is sextortion, but then they have people that do nothing but swatting, that do nothing but steal credit cards, that do nothing but. So it's this massive thing, but there's really not that much information that gets talked about in the media. And I'm like, there's 400 active FBI cases right now just in the US. And it's the biggest threat facing our youth. And like when I did a video on it, most of the people that watched, and a lot of my viewers are of age that would have children maybe that age, and they had no idea this existed, and I'm like, they could be targeted right now. So that's the part, and I think why would that not be out there in a big way? It's because law enforcement actually doesn't have any good answers for it, because they arrested the so-called leaders of it a year ago, but since it's decentralized, it did nothing. It's stronger right now than it ever has been.
But then they're like, oh, that's fine.
They're not, since it's digital, they're not all located here. They're located all around the world. It's very, very difficult to police and shut down. So because of that, it's like my feeling is I don't want to know about it. So sound the alarm. But the problem is like we were talking about before, like questions you don't ask actors, right? Same thing with law enforcement. If they're like, hey, we have this big problem, so what are you guys doing about it? And they're like, well,
we're trying.
We don't know. Like they don't want to have to.
You don't want to hear it.
They don't have to answer that, right?
But
so
it's
they
true.
just don't. So they just are not going to bring it up because no one has any good answers.
Unless it happens to them, that's when things get moved.
Yeah.
In Mexico, for example, I remember being victim of a crime and going to the police and saying, they're going to help me. And the guy's reading the newspaper and I said, hey man, this guy robbed me, and guess what? He dropped his driver's license and I got it right here. Let's go get him. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait.
even in the U.S., Tony's car was stolen like 4 weeks ago. Yeah, Tony's car was stolen from here.
Right here, from my apartment.
From my apartment. On the 6th floor.
Don't use your car is safe.
Yeah.
It's one of those
But
things that
it's-
I'm like, it had happened because I never had my car stolen.
Yeah.
So like, it was about damn time my car
But,
gets stolen.
but Tony's like, he has the app, right? Because he has an Audi, and he goes, it's right here. Like, I know where it is. And the lady's like, okay, we don't go
We
after
just don't
cars.
chase people like that.
But also, but you shouldn't go either because you never know like who you're gonna run into. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, well, what are we supposed to? Do we just sit here and hope that you go find it?
Hopefully you bring it
The
back.
police like, dispatch here. Like this.
Yeah.
It's like,
And I listen, I said, I get it. I don't need the fucking car.
yeah.
I just don't want the car to be used to kill someone. Because
Or
I'm not
robbery
able to
or-
handle that in my own fuck. Yeah, this guy's probably he's speeding at the end. I'm like, my car. It won't.
Okay, he was doing
He's
circles at one
speeding.
point. Oh.
I said, for the sake of other people, go arrest him. Because this guy is obviously not in his fucking right mind.
But that's and exactly to your point of like, I don't want it to be used to kill someone because some of the cases we've even heard of, people aren't even involved in whatever the case, whether it's a weapon or a car.
Yeah.
But then
Somebody
They get
told me,
killed.
El
They get killed by
Mexican. That's it.
yeah, and they're like, oh, then it was him. And the actual guy that stole your car.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
going-
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then your life's ruined for a year as you have to like explain all this stuff. Yeah.
How many episodes of this resonated the most with you? Because I'm sure that you get infuriated when you see these cases.
Mhm.
You have any?
The one that stuck out to me was one that was so obvious that it was like literally a jaw-dropping moment, and it was this single mom. She had one or two children.
I think too.
She was in the process of getting herself established. Like I think she just finished school. She like was starting a career, and she and one other person got arrested basically on like a cold case, and it was the murder of
Old neighbor.
a neighbor when she would have been like 14 years old. And if I remember correctly, it was because it was like a jailhouse confession thing. Someone said, oh, these people did it, which people lie about that kind of stuff all the time.
To get reduced sentences.
So they arrest her, and the basically the people that the way the murder happened was brutal. This guy got like his place was ransacked. He got
Duct
duct taped and was killed. And number one, the guy was a bigger guy. She was a smaller girl.
And again, she was 14 at the time. She was just a teenager, a kid at the time, like when this happened. So,
and there was her and one other suspect, and they tried them simultaneously. So we're watching the evidence just like a jury would, and there's just nothing other than they found in one instance, not all over it. They found in one instance the duct tape had fingerprints from her. So when questioned, they said, well, why would your fingerprints be on the duct tape? And she said, well, when I was a kid, my dad, and this was documented, my dad was his handyman, and I would sit
that was killed.
and I would sit in the garage with my dad, and we would like throw stuff back and forth, and like sometimes I'd help him, sometimes. So it was like, that's the only reason I could think.
Yeah, it was the duct tape, but I think he'd wrap it up in like a ball or something, and he'd throw. I think it was her grandfather, but he'd toss it to her like she would like basically just try to entertain herself while the grandfather or father, whoever it was working with this neighbor. And when they found the one single fingerprint on there, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
she did it.
And that was the only piece of evidence they had. And
Out of the entire round, because they used, since the handyman like was constantly at this guy's house, he had all of his tools there and everything. He had obviously duct tape there, so the robber, killer, whoever it was, used whatever was in this guy's house, which was some of the handyman stuff. That duct tape was there. He used that, wrapped the guy up, and killed him. So yeah, that the only thing that was left on there was her fingerprint.
a single one, and she would have had to walk like 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. It just made the timeline didn't even make sense based on when she would have got out of school. There was no motive. So all that stuff, as logical people, we're sitting there going, you can't convict her. So, and again, it was a 2-person trial. The first person gets up, and he would have been older at the time. He would have probably been a more reasonable suspect, although there's no evidence. So not guilty. So in my mind, it's like, okay, not guilty. They're both going to be not guilty. There's just like, they got nothing. She gets up, and I mean, we're both convinced, like, it's not guilty. Guilty of murder.
So that means she got life in prison.
So
she was young.
It's just like, I remember the air was sucked out of the room on TV, but it was like in our family room. It was also like, it's like, holy, like that person's life just disappeared over nothing, over something that was like so easily explained, over like one, like, I don't even know. Sometimes I wonder too, prosecutors have a job. I get that. And I have a lot of respect for what they do, but sometimes it's like, how do you sleep knowing that you took someone's life away over this piece of evidence that is really shaky? Because it's like, you're not winning a board game, or you're not winning a corporate battle. It's like when you win, there's real gravity and weight to what you do, and now you're taking this person's life and ruining it because of trying to win. And it gets me too when sometimes you see cases that have been debunked and you realize that the person is innocent, and then you still have a prosecutor trying to get the charges to stay, and it's like, dude, they're innocent. Like, what do you, like, isn't your job to find justice, and justice should be.
Well, I think the other one, just before I forget, because I forget things really quickly.
Okay, me too. Yeah, welcome to the club. Goldfish Club.
I'm like, wait. So, Paradise Lost. Have you guys seen that documentary? Or there was, so it's based around these 3 boys that were convicted during the Satanic Panic era, like in the 90s or something. So anytime someone wore black, listened to Manson, any rock music whatsoever, they're like, oh, they're worshiping Satan, and they're just up to no good. So these 3 boys, and they were in between ages like 12 and 14, maybe, or 15.
Yeah.
So
maybe starting high school, like.
And they were black. One of them had black, longer hair. They listened to rock music, and 2 kids in their neighborhood went missing, like 2 little boys, and they found their bodies, and they immediately, I don't even know what initially sent them, like, to the 3 teenage boys, like what sent them to like their direction, but law enforcement, prosecutors immediately went to them, and they're like, you killed these 2 boys. Like, they were found murdered in the woods, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, no. But they tried to base it off their lifestyle, everything that they were doing, everything that they were wearing, and they
listen to how like your music's violent, this is violent.
Yeah, so they're like, you guys must have done it, and they're like, no, we did it. Like, there's no evidence that shows, like, there was no weapon, there was nothing pointed to them whatsoever. And I think it was just I hate to say, like, it's the prosecutors that are just wanting to find that easy win of, okay, so these kids, they're the ones that killed these 2 little boys. And I think eventually they found 1 hair fiber or something that didn't belong to any of the boys, like the 3 teenage boys. But still, they all got charged with, was it 2 counts of murder or something, at least? So, again, these kids were tried as adults. So, and they got sent to prison for life. So,
and one of them got the death penalty.
Yeah, one got the death penalty. So
he was on death row. And what was really, when they interviewed him, because one of the, I guess, issues people had was it seemed like they didn't take the trial very serious when they're asking questions. They're kind of defiant, and when asked about that after, they're like, we didn't take it serious because there's no evidence of us doing anything. Like, we didn't kill anyone. So like we didn't think there's any way we could end up in jail. We didn't do it.
And they were kids.
Yeah, so they were probably like joking around with the police or not taking the investigation.
Yeah, even on the stand, there's like.
But there was one where I remember the police officers were coercing the one young kid, saying, I mean, do you think that they could have killed someone? And eventually, like, you could hear him kind of just trying to be like, but you think there's a chance. Like, you think that there's a chance that someone could have killed. And this kid, I think he had, like, a lower IQ. And he's like, I mean, possibly.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
It was lower.
Well, your friend possibly said that you.
Yeah, so then I was like, well, this is what he said.
They kept on milking him, just being like, but, like, if there's, like, you think that there's a 1% chance. You think that there's even 0.5 of a chance.
Because you ask certain questions like, is it possible they did it? Well, I mean, anything's possible, I guess, you know? So it's
like they were wording questions too, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, you have sophisticated police tactics used against a kid, and one that can't really comprehend what's happening anyway. And honestly, if they keep you in a room for so long and you're not getting food, you're not getting water, you have trouble focusing on what's even being said to you.
And you're gonna get tired, and after a while, you're just like, yeah, sure, whatever, get me the fuck home.
And to tie it all back, what saved their life was the fact that since it had to do with rock music and the case became known for that, MTV got involved, and MTV started to film the trial, not really knowing the guilt or innocence of them. But as they started to see what was happening, then it became very simple to frame it as these kids were wrongfully convicted because they like metal music. And because they were able to keep it in the press and keep it fresh, then you started to get,
I think Metallica even
major artists started to get behind.
Even the Dixie Chicks, like randomly.
Oh wow!
Like it's random, but Metallica, I believe, and there's other rock bands out there. And this documentary, Paradise Lost, it was set over, like, started from when they were young, and then they continuously were like, okay, no, these guys were wrongfully convicted, and I think was it the Innocence Project that like picked them up? Maybe
they because of the amount of resources they had, because of all these major just celebrities and all behind. They ended up. I remember they brought in what they considered like the dream team of defense attorneys, like the best forensics guy in the world, the best appeals guy, and they're like they put all these guys into the case. And started picking apart, DNA was able to evolve. So they had really ironclad evidence. And what was really, to talk more, to really bring it back to the prosecution side, what was really infuriating to me was you have a guy that is now off death row, I think, because the death penalty was outlawed in whatever state he's in. So now, but he's still life in prison. These guys have been in prison. They have not lived life as an adult at all. They went in as teenagers.
They were in their 40s, and
now they've been there since they were kids. Yeah. So
they don't even know how to use a cell phone or understand.
Oh my gosh! That, but didn't they put in a Alfred plea?
So what happened was they in all fairness, they had beat the case. They had every bit of evidence they needed to just clear it. And that's what the prosecutor should have done, is just clear it, because they're innocent. Like, let them the hell out of jail. Like, they're innocent. They like, basically when they were passing evidence back and forth of like what was going to happen in the appeals, they knew they were going to lose. Like, these kids were innocent. And instead of that, they come to him and they say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to allow you to change your plea to an Alfred plea, which an Alfred plea is, I accept guilt because of the way a case looks, but I maintain my innocence. So it's like, if you think that you might reasonably be convicted because of how the circumstances look, but you are innocent, or you're claiming innocence, it's a way for both parties to kind of get that. But it's still, you're still convicted. You would still be convicted of murder at that point.
And the prosecutor, it's almost like the prosecutor just couldn't say, sorry, we fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, like, they came out specifically, and they're like, whenever they were offering this, the reason they offered it, and they said it publicly, was, well, there's so much mishandling in the case that if we just drop it, you guys will be able to sue us for untold amount of money.
Oh, well, true. If they're in
So-
for 40 years, it's like $1 million a year or something like that, right? Like it's something crazy.
So they're like, so you have two options. One, you can stay in prison for as long as the appeals process takes, because even if they do win it, it's a long time before they officially get that win. They're like, or you can do this and you go home today. Do the Alfred plea. We'll end it today.
Yeah.
You go home today, and there's like, you know what?
I mean, at some point, you just probably want to be
They just wanna
home
go
and
home.
live a life of.
They just wanna go home.
I think
right?
to me that was one that actually really.
But that bothered me because like they were innocent. Just like if you have if you have the evidence that they're innocent, just
Just let them.
let them go.
It's as simple.
That's the way the system should work.
Yeah.
It's like one of those movies that we watched that says he was in the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time, place at the wrong time.
Well, I think saving this evidence and having all this stuff like you guys have at the house, right? You have all of this stuff that's like saved, movies, true crime, all of it, and I think that part is reminding people the history of everything, right?
Right.
Kind of go back to that, so we maybe go on a more positive note.
Yeah, I know. I get
I know.
angry.
No, I do too. I get very passionate and I get very into
I was
it.
gonna go to this podcast had drama.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gotta have drama, a little bit of everything. What was the first thing that you guys added to your collection? Do you know what it was? What the first thing you bought was?
For horror?
Yeah, either or any of that.
Yeah, I think it was the Hannibal Lecter mask, and that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think I bought it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I love horror. He loves horror, and we bought it. And I think we bought it at our last house just to have. Like it's not screen use. I think I got it from Etsy, from somewhere online. So I'm like, oh, it looks really cool. I think I got it as a present. And once we moved into the house, the castle, and this basement is like, it's set up super weird. Maybe we should just start collecting stuff. So all we had was just like this Hannibal Lecter mask there.
How many pieces do you guys think you have in total in the house?
Have we counted?
And how did you go?
I don't know exactly.
How did you go from 1 to like I mean, at least 500. It's insane.
Yeah.
This house is, I mean, when we first walked down the stairs, you took me to like, this is the path we take for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I thought that was it. I was like, oh, that was really cool. It was cool to come here and stuff. And then you're like, oh, now we're going here. Oh, over here. And I was like, when does this place end?
That's amazing.
Oh my God. It was incredible. So how did you do this build up and how did you figure out, oh, this place is going to have this and this is going to have this?
It really happened kind of organically as we were, because one thing to understand is when we moved in, everything you saw, nothing was there. Like we were changed walls around, like it was all carpet. It's almost hard to imagine what it used to look like. So we were going through the process of like remodeling, and during that, it's like we'd find certain like nooks. So I think it turned into, it'd be like Frankenstein could be there, and then Hannibal, this could be the, like where Hannibal is in his cell that used to be a closet. So we just converted the closet into his like jail cell.
Oh, cool.
So we started to find like,
and some of them were really last minute. Like I'm like, what do we do with this nook? Like the house has so many random closets and nooks that we're like, what do we do with this? Like we don't know. Like even where the vampire cave is, like that was used as storage.
it was like the weird like.
And then someone, I think it was one of the monster builders, was like, hey, you know what? And this was probably a week out from our first Halloween party that we ever had. He's like, I could turn it into a cave. I'm like, we got a week. Like, how is this even possible? He's like, no, I got it. It's fine. That
Cave.
Like everything from the floor to the walls to the ceiling, all done, I think, in a matter of like 3 days. Like,
yeah.
So
and it's incredible. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I kind of. No, I was gonna say. So when you opened the door for the first time, you said you were kind of ready for 1 week. The kids were first, or
how did this Halloween night come to be?
So we actually don't allow children at the Halloween party.
We'll allow some close friends, and there's been some people that are like, "Hey, we can't get rid of our children. Can we bring them?" We'll either throw them like in one of the like little TV areas or something. But go on, yeah.
Yes. So just because with alcohol and it's definitely like a more adult oriented party. So the way it starts is people pull in. We have valet set up. They have a check-in to make sure that because we do have people that try to crash it. So
Even
everyone has to
live within the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not everyone is the same.
because of the value of everything. We have to have like a pretty. I mean, I think
we want to know the people. You don't want just random people walking in the house and breaking the glass or grabbing things because when you walk through, the stuff is just there. A lot of the time, you're like, "Oh, let me fix this," and I was like,
"You're like, you can touch it."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my god, don't touch it." I'm like, "Oh wait, no."
Like because we're always looking to add to the collection, and whether it's true crime or like the fictional horror movies, but. Ultimately, to answer your question, we don't know how many pieces there are because we're always changing things out. We're always, he's in contact with like there's eBay sellers, there's people that collect these things that just need to get rid of it.
Prop auctions, yeah.
You become, you form like a relationship with some of these people and then.
Like it's like a pipeline. They know that we acquire stuff, so something comes up.
Antique shops even. Some of them have I think a lot of our true crime stuff actually came from antique stores. You just like ask someone, you're like, "Hey, so what do you got?" Like either true crime related or just history related, and you'd be surprised what they have like in their back rooms.
Interesting.
And something we just started doing too is we really opened it up for independent artists that are out there that do something that's horror related. So there's a lady that just sent me this really cool. She does these mashups, hand drawn mashups of different like horror figures. So I was like, send it to me. I'll put it in the museum so it could be hung in the museum, and then I'll do a horror video about it to just to help, help what you're doing because independent art is like the lifeblood of the museum exists. Because of independent art. I mean, most horror movies that you know and love were a couple of crazy people who are like, let's do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they were no one before they started it, and now they have this genre-changing thing.
Even Friday the 13th, that was a ripoff. They legitimately say it was a ripoff from.
That was a business plan. I love that story. They were like. There was nothing original there. They're like, okay, how do we rip off let's take Halloween and do it at a camp.
But then
that was like
they put it in the newspaper that said the scariest movie you've ever seen. They didn't have any script. They didn't have any story. They didn't have, and they're like,
nothing.
Oh shit!
Just to like a trap.
Actually, like this, they're like, cool. So we gotta come up with a scary movie. Like we gotta do something.
That's how they attracted money. So they put it, I think, in the LA Times. Friday the 13th, the scariest movie you've ever seen, and producers started like, "What are you guys working on?" Like, because that was like when scary movies had started to like Halloween was big and
quite yet, but
Like, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be big, and it was also the first one. It was never supposed to be a franchise. Story that a lot of people don't know is the ending scene where little Jason comes out of the lake and pulls. The final girl into the lake was not scripted at all. It was actually Tom Savini, who is now the really famous special effects makeup artist, that said, "I really think we should do this, guys. I really think we should do it." And that honestly opened up the entire franchise because without that one shot, it wouldn't make any sense as to how the rest of it evolves because Jason does not appear in the first Friday the 13th. And another part of that film too, which is interesting, is people love the violence because Tom Savini used to be a war photographer. So he saw so much violence firsthand that when he got into special effects, he understood how to make things look real because he saw so much firsthand.
So good, but also like so sad at the same time. Like
it is.
I mean, you need someone to understand it, to understand how when a bullet goes, but it's
Staying to my next question, so I'm gonna pick your brain on this one. So I noticed when I was in your castle, a lot of heroes. Okay, let's talk about for a minute. If you know about heroes like Batman, he's a dark person. He's a past that nobody knows. He's always dressed in black. But that's the only way you can get a hero with the same force. Because if you come with the hero that is like, everybody's gonna attack the hero, unless you have superpowers. So there are heroes, for example, the vigilantes. There's many of them.
Yeah.
Dexter.
Yes.
Punisher.
You have those. What talking about your fascination also for the counterpart of it. So do you see that this is adds to the Hollywood storytelling, or you really resonate with any of those characters and why?
It's weird. I had this weird anticipation you're gonna ask me this question. I don't know why. I just because I thought about this answer before.
Well, maybe because you guys told us that wasn't it your first date or something that he's like, I have a Batman.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you want to come with me to my Batman film?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
sure. And that comes out of the dressing room.
You should totally drive around now.
Like, listen, we've talked about buying a Batmobile, and they do make it. It's like in Vietnam.
We all want to see you in a Batman.
Oh, yes.
Because it will suit you. Number one, it suit you well. If I wear that suit, they're not gonna look good. Assistant of the assistant.
You'd be the Robin. You'd be Robin.
No, I'll be the Joker.
The Joker.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do that.
The
Hispanic
Joker. We got a
Joker.
spin-off on this.
Yeah, you can crush
But
it.
anyways, I saw a lot of, yeah, we're working on something. May 13th. Watch for it.
So for me, the vigilante specifically, but also I am drawn to any superhero that doesn't actually have like superpowers. So that's why I really like Batman. I really like the Punisher because he's a guy. He has skills, but he's just a guy. Like one ill-placed bullet, he's dead. It's really same thing with Batman. So I think there's power in the weakness of that. I think that's where the good storytelling comes from. That's why sometimes I love Superman, but Superman's almost so powerful. It's like nothing can kill this guy other than like kryptonite. So he just avoids that, and nothing else can take him out. And they've done a good job with the movies. It just makes it less interesting. It's like when someone has real weaknesses, you're watching going, is he going to survive this or is he not? Because at the end of the day, he's just a man. And I also think at least from a man side, like you're talking about protecting your family, right? There's a part in all of us that you see something bad happen to someone's family, and then someone like it's one of the reasons I love John Wick. They killed his dog, so he's like, I'm killing everybody, right? It's like the Punisher is the same way. It's like you killed his family, and now he's going to kill everyone that ever wronged anyone ever with his code. Same thing with Dexter. It's like I feel like you can get behind that, and especially as a man, if you took something from a man. You resonate with someone who has the power to actually do that, because most of us don't have the skill set to do that. You know, we could say we'd be like that, but we're not. None of us are Batman or the Punisher. You know, so
that would be freaking cool.
The movie Dracula, and we saw the side of Dracula, which is I was crying. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh my God, incredible!
It
makes you feel bad for Dracula. You're like, oh shit! Like
Did they-
There's been a couple where I'm like, you just don't know.
yeah, or like Frankenstein, like the new one.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I get why he's mad. Like this dude literally locked him in a freaking basement. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
He'd chain me up. I can't go outside. Yeah.
he makes him and then discards him.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, we don't ever look sometimes at the other side of the story.
So,
I guess.
if somebody presents you, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
If somebody interrupts you, like I did. If somebody comes to you and say, hey man, this guy needs to be killed. And it needs to be killed. I mean, there's no other way that we can stop him other than that. So some people hire, like I see the movies, no? I'm not that I'm sure that people hire other people to
Hitman. Yeah.
Hitman. Is there also a hero that's a hitman?
I mean, I guess it kind of would be.
It
Depends on why they're killing you.
it also depends on
Wife or something.
yeah. It also depends on the values of the hitman. If your value is that this person needs to go because he's a bad person, and that's my code, but the hitman I hire would kill a good or a bad person as long as they get paid, then he's not a hero. He's just a paid person.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to who, like, we're playing with a character right now that has basically, there's a segment on the dark web that, and this is real, that hurts children, and they can't really be detected because of the ways that they maneuver. So we've been playing with this character that has the ability to reach them and takes them out. So imagine like a Dexter but dark web version, but his code isn't necessarily you've had to kill someone, it's you've had to essentially harm a child. And I actually ran I was just curious, so I did a video and I asked my viewers, like, what do you think? Do you think someone like this should go to prison, or should they roam around? And I think I had one person say that, and they didn't even say they should go to prison. They should say that they don't agree with someone becoming their own justice. Mm-hmm. Every other person was like, absolutely 100% behind them. It's like, yeah. So I think, I think people, I feel like maybe people don't fully trust all the systems in place. So if someone's willing to, as long as they can validate their I guess, killing the right people, as horrible as it is to say, I don't know. I think people kind of resonate with that, which is why Dexter's so popular.
Yeah, because I think for sure, Dexter, I mean, people that slip through the cracks or the hands of law enforcement is like, oh, are you kidding me? But they fucking did it. They either hurt that kid, killed that person, whatever. Yeah, and you always want that vigilante to win her. Like, oh my gosh, Dexter, please, like, go after him. Please kill him. And I think it's kind of that, I don't know, maybe you can almost like relate to that in real life, being like, damn, I know this person's in the wrong, and I gotta prove that they are wrong and that I'm right, or that someone else is right.
Because what's the saying? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Mm-hmm. So that's the problem. A lot of times you could know someone's doing something and right in front of you, but if there's not enough evidence to prove it in a court of law, they just walk away.
Mm-hmm. You also are a producer.
I am.
For films, for horror films. Can you tell us a little about what's your next project? Are you working on something right now?
Sure.
Something coming out soon.
So
maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. So this it's funny. Wendy and I are both actors. That's how we met. And I would say about 10 years ago, I was serious in the craft, where I was actively trying to build my career. So was Wendy. And we got to a place where we realized that in order to build further, we were going to have to make some pretty life-altering decisions, like probably move cities. Even though Atlanta's growing and big, there's certain roles that are only cast out of LA and New York. And collectively, we also had businesses that were growing. So it's like, what do we focus on? And the decision then was build our businesses so then we could become our own producers and produce our own films and be in control of that. And so that's exactly what we did. So as we had been building our businesses, it was about a year ago. Yeah, a year ago, January, where we looked at each other and we're like, I think this is it felt like the right time. It felt like there was shifts happening just in the industry. It's like, we need to enter now. And because of just my background in business, I didn't look at it as just a film. It's like, I want to lay out a plan of how we're going to build a film company that can not only compete, but win, and win in a way where independent art wins. So that was the whole purpose of our kind of our initial thought, our structure. And we had this concept for a long time that, again, dealt a lot with the dark web, things that happen on the dark web, things that, it's like one of those things that's like, especially in horror, you can't believe it's not talked about more. But I think it's because a lot of people don't know a lot about it. So as we started to like dig into that and dig into this, we always had this vision of how it would be shot, and how I think with horror specifically, and Wendy can speak to this too, unique is important. You have to have something that just people haven't experienced, because horror done correctly isn't just a film; it's a sensory experience, because you're dealing with
the adrenaline,
fear.
You're like,
That's what a lot of people enjoy, but it's I mean, the adrenaline rush to being able to relate to that scenario. I think the more real it is, the more you can picture yourself in that scenario, and you're like, oh God, that can happen to me, or like that could happen to my kid, or whomever it is. But
so we formed Kill House Films, and our first film is slated to have what I call a private premiere at the Mad Monster convention, which is at the end of August in North Carolina, which is a big deal for us because the slot that we're in is usually when they have a studio picture. So it's been thank you. Yeah, so that's
incredible.
That's exciting, and we're going to use that as a launching pad for the promotion side of it. And I can't say a lot about it yet, but what I will say is it deals a lot with real activities that happen on the dark web, as well as technologies that we use today that we don't fully understand, that we know little bits about, that when you look at it further are either incredibly freeing or incredibly terrifying, depending on who uses it.
And I think that kind of comes in whether it knew anything. And I know when the government or the world, whoever, like they're putting something out there, they're like, oh, this will help the people. This will be good for the world. This will be good. There's always going to be shadows, and there's always going to be people that are going to take advantage of it. There's always going to be people that want to use it for bad, but normally it's like using it for financial sake or whatever. They take advantage of it. So there's always a good and bad, whether it's something tech-wise or...
And it also deals with how we are as a society and how we consume violence, how people that are just regular everyday people consume and share violence. And it also deals some aspects of true crime, specifically of when you take a father and you take everything away from that father, like we've talked about in other stories. We just had the conversation. But then to add to that thing, that moment, that thing that took your life away, that everything you love is now what people are watching on Friday night as entertainment. What does that actually do to someone? Like, how does that feel? And when you take enough away from someone, could that turn them into a monster? So that's part of what it examines too, is what happens when a good person, it just like we don't see the effects. We think about the victims, I think we all do, but we don't think about the fact that they're having to relive and see this moment constantly over and over again. And that's what this contemplates. So it's not a movie that's meant to judge the audience, because in a lot of ways we're passing judgment on ourselves because we consume true crime too. It's more or less just
it's more to make yourself more aware of. I mean, you don't even have to like put this in there, because I know people don't like Charlie Kirk, but whenever he was shot, the video that went around of him being shot, and I'm like, I don't care if you like him or not.
It was scary.
He had kids.
Yeah.
And his kids are, if they haven't already, they're going to see that one day.
Or I saw your dad. Like,
I saw your dad bleed out.
The bullying that it can lead to. Yeah. Like, I agree. I'm obviously not a huge fan of him, but I didn't think it was right to have that online. I know obviously it was at a live event and people were videoing, but what it does to the kids, or even their kids' at some point, it's like an emotional thing that I don't think they'll ever be able to disconnect from.
And it's my question.
But the fact that it was shared,
that's the thing. It's
so
like
quickly, and like
it just went like viral.
And people would record it, save it to their phone, and then share it elsewhere. I'm like, you have someone dying in your phone, and he's bleeding out. And again, whether you support him or not, like, holy fuck, it's like, think about that for a second. You have a guy that, like, you see him get shot, you see him bleed out, you see him literally die in front of you.
And you think it's a good idea to save it to your phone and share it with your friends.
Yeah, share it. But it's like, and the thing is, it also good idea or not, like people are always intrigued by it. People are always curious about it, and that's
we're desensitized.
Yeah. But I'm the same way. I love true crime. Like, I've always been interested in it. Even throwing a podcast on my phone when I used to, drive to work, I would just listen to it because it's interesting. I think you said it when we were touring the house once. You want to try to understand it. You want to get into their mind. Why did they do this? You don't want to go and kill people, but you want to be like, but why? Right. Why did they do it this way? Why you want to?
Or like red flags.
Yes. Or
like how can you identify people that might be predators? Yeah. Because that's the thing is in film, most times the bad guy is like a grotesque looking monster with a mask or something. But if you look at the people that are actual serial killers, they're just regular people. They're business.
Very good looking.
Yeah, good looking. They're business leaders. They're people that you'd never. I mean, the latest one that was he just pled guilty a week ago. He's a very well-to-do architect. Very professional. John Wayne Gacy was a business leader, a political figure, had a really successful contracting busines. Ted Bundy was his own set of monster. I mean, the way he traversed and used the media.
Was so charismatic too. Like he was his own lawyer. So that stuff is like mind blowing too. But there's people out there that still exist like that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's people on the road, the walking past you every day.
Yeah.
You never know.
We don't even know anything about it. I Michelle sometimes like this is more often than I imagine, because you live in disconnected of that world that you only think about your coffee, how to be productive the next day, how you're gonna pay your bills, and these people are thinking, I'm gonna wake up in the morning, how the fuck am I
gonna kill this person?
But that's the thing.
This and then looking for ways to hurt someone. Yeah. Who has time to do that?
But and the thing is, it's crazy because they know that they're not thinking about like
exactly
they're on like a hit list or something.
Exactly.
It's like they don't think I'm like you're thinking about your coffee. They're not thinking about, I might get murdered today. Like that's not a common thing for people to think about. So they have a very twisted mindset, obviously, but it's very, to me, I think it's just like the lack of remorse and everything that they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they can't.
Thank you, Clint and Wendy. Go follow them to see when Captive drops. Next week, we have Fernando Fernandez. If you've been in Atlanta long enough, you know that name. He was a pioneer of Atlanta's Latin nightlife and may have some stories no one's heard before. We got some tea boiling. I'm Michelle, and this was Atlanta After Dark. Stay safe out there.